With more is Republican Congressman Tom Cole of Oklahoma, who sits on the House Budget Committee. And Congressman, do you think that Ted Cruz, which is, this is who we're talking about, the face of the opposition, is going to be able to succeed in derailing this CR?
No, I don't. Actually, it's not a CR. It's an omnibus bill, and much different. There's actually quite a bit of change on a year-to-year basis in an omnibus as opposed to continuing resolution. But no, I don't think he's got the votes to do it. There'll be actually bipartisan support for this. There'll be bipartisan opposition. There's some Democrats that are very concerned about some of the authorization or funding for Syrian operations. There's always folks on the right that are concerned that any bill, even though this meets the Ryan budget goals, they would prefer to spend less. I get that, but at the end of the day, I think the votes are there, the agreements have been made, and it's very bipartisan because, remember, the Democrats control the United States Senate, so we still have to get this through a Democratic Senate and eventually have to get a Democratic president to sign it.
So will you need the Democrats? Do you believe you will need the Democrats in order to get this spending bill through? I
don't think we need them. I think, again, a lot of them will vote for it because they broadly support what's, in parts of the bill. Remember, this is a compromise arrived at with a Democratic Senate. So there were Democratic concerns at the table, and the Democratic president still has to sign it. So he certainly has some leverage in the process as well. So at the end of the day, again, I've always believed this would be bipartisan. If we got into a partisan showdown, yeah, I think we could get to 218 votes, but that wouldn't get you the 60 votes you need in the United States Senate, and that wouldn't get you a presidential signature.
How many Republicans, though, do you think, Congressman, are going to oppose this? How many defections do you expect?
First of all, I wouldn't consider them defections because it's not an exclusively Republican bill. If you had something that only Republicans got to write, we'd probably be able to get almost everybody that we needed. Since Democrats have at least half the leverage in this, really two-thirds, because they've got the president, we're not going to be able to get every objective that we would like to achieve. But at the end of the day, again, they're not defections when you don't need the votes.
Okay, so
and the reality is it'll be bipartisan.
Technically, they're not defections, but how many do you think are going to oppose this bill?
I don't know. We haven't whipped the bill yet. The bill hasn't been seen by the members. It'll be placed online later today. That'll give us an opportunity beginning tomorrow in conference to have a discussion. But again, at the end of the day, I think there's going to be ample votes there from both sides of the aisle. So I don't think there's quite the drama here that one might expect.
So you don't expect that you'll pass this deadline, that you will meet the deadline on Thursday to pass this bill?
I'm very confident we'll meet it, by Thursday, assuming we get it filed today. There's a period of time you have to give people an opportunity to look at something this massive, but we should get that done later today. And again, I think we'll move on schedule and be out of here by Thursday the 11th.
What if by chance, though, Congressman, by chance that this does not get passed, what does that mean for John Boehner? What does that mean for the Republican leadership?
Well, I think it would be a tremendous embarrassment for all concerned, Democrat and Republican. Remember, this has to go through a Democratic Senate. This has to be signed by a Democratic president. And so to act as if they don't play any role in the process, both in bringing votes to the table and reaching final agreements, is just simply not correct. So I think both the leaderships of both houses on both sides of the aisle would be pretty embarrassed at the end of the day if we couldn't get it done. And because of that, I think we will get it done. But, there's all this last-minute gamesmanship like, well, we have to have leverage to give our votes. Really? I mean, there are Democratic senators that we're bargaining with. That's most of the leverage that Democrats need.
Congressman, I want to switch to the topic of jobs. The jobs report came out on Friday, and it was stellar. We had economists on that morning who were saying, wow, this is blockbuster. I've never been so excited to see this jobs report. And then you get get John Boehner's statement and statements from the Republican leadership continuing to say that it's not good enough, that the economy is not rolling enough along, and that jobs are not being created at the pace that they should be. But the more the Republicans criticize a jobs report or a jobs momentum that seems to be moving nicely, do they start to look even more out of touch with what is going on in the economy and in in the market?
Like the Grinch who stole Christmas? No, I don't think so. I mean, you have to remember, this has been the slowest recovery from a major recession in modern American history. And it's taken a long time. Now, you're exactly right. We've had 10 terrific months here, 200,000 plus. This month, 300,000 plus. I think that's good news. I think you have to give most of the credit, though, to the American people, not to the government, because the reality is, let's take the energy boom. This hasn't exactly been an administration that's been friendly to the oil and gas industry, although it tries to take a lot of credit for what people in the private sector have done. So,
but what about
right
infrastructure?
To be critical of how slow this has been. Well, infrastructure, again, I think we have an opportunity probably early in the next Congress to do a lot more in that area. We need to fix the transportation fund. That's going to call for some compromise on all sides. So those are good things, but the housing market's not back where you'd like it to be. It's better, but not back. So, again, I think you see the American economy working its way through difficult problems, but you need to give the American people and the American private sector the credit, not the government.
All right, Congressman, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
Congressman Tom Cole of Oklahoma, bright and early on this Monday.